Hello! Alright then, so Brigand class now. Right, so now unlike the previous ones that I've done, I actually don't have a Brigand character. Never even started one. But I'll still try to help you out with the build. I mean, it's all theoretical, but should work. I'll cover both spear and bow Brigand, just as I did with Haruspex. I both spear and bow versions. So here we go. Starting with hunting mastery for spear brigand. I'll be moving from left to right on this, along the skill tree here. Right, so top left we got study prey. Once again, as I say with pretty much every other hunting hunting class, it's a good skill. Study prey, very good debuff. And snare, I don't usually use that. It's only good for sort of Act 1 normal. After that it becomes less useful, much less useful in fact. Call of the Hunt, good buff, and for Brigand it could be very useful with all the piercing damage modifiers. Brigand is pretty much a piercing character because you've got hunting and rogue, both highly piercing favoring masteries, right? So any kind of piercing modifier you can find, you've got to get it, because that'll just make your piercing damage just skyrocket, okay? Right, as a spear brigand you're not going for the marksmanship, but as a bow you would, so I'll cover that with the bow. Takedown, that's a good skill in my opinion. It's a good charging skill, which closes the distance between you and the enemies really fast, and it does health reduction, so I would advise to get that. Gouge is quite weak. It only does like a bit of bleeding now. Unless you're going for a strictly bleeding build, I wouldn't advise it. Volley is pretty good because it causes you to attack 3 times really fast. Art of the Hunt is pretty much a compulsory for every hunting character because of all the good buffs. It's a permanent buff. So the only thing is the trailblazing skill. I only ever put 1 point in it just for the 99% reduction to the entrapment. But you don't really need much of a movement speed bonus. And the far right, Woodlaw is once again the must for every hunting character, and also the herbal remedy. At least 1 point I would advise you, preferably to max it, because that's good against all the poison dealing bosses. Monster lure, you could go monster lure with Brigand. See, with the Brigand, you also have the traps with Rogue Mastery, so you could choose either traps or monster lure, or if you find that you survive fine but without them both, then you don't need to spend skill points on them. Just see how it goes. If you need the support, you can always have either monster lure or traps. Right, I'll move on to the Rogue Mastery now of the Spear Brigand. I think Calculated Strike, see bottom left there, Calculated Strike will be very useful because there isn't any other left mouse button skill. So I'd advise you to get that, and also Blade Honing, that should be good. Increases piercing damage. Lethal Strike, definitely Lethal Strike. Synergy is optional, I'd say, for the Lethal Strike, but the Lethal Strike base skill itself, definitely get that. Knives, you might want to put maybe 1 point in the base skill and the synergy. Just see how it goes, because knives is usually good for spreading like the effects of the envenom tree. Then we have the traps. I think traps is more suitable for the bow brigand, but once again, as I said with the monster lure, just see whether you need them or not. If you need any extra fire support, just get the traps. The only thing is just look at it's gonna take up quite a lot of skill points. Disable traps, it's not that much of a impulse skill. You may put 1 point in it if you wish, if you think that you come across traps a lot, like the enemy traps, I mean. Envenom tree, right, so this tree is pretty much a compulsory for every rogue class, but you see like this. So for there's 4 skills, and 2 of them to do with poison, actual poison damage. So if you're going for the strictly poison build, you should max those out. But if you're not going for strictly poison build, then don't. Okay, you only put 1 point in the base skill, and then I would max out the Nightshade because it slows the enemies down. I would ignore the toxin distillation, and I would get the mandrake. Mandrake is one of the best skills in rogue because it disorients your enemies, and it's got a high chance of doing that. So definitely max that out. Flash bomb, you might want to put 1 point in it, just sort of as a panic button in case monsters swarming you. Although I'm thinking if you got mandrake maxed out, you might not need it. Poison gas bomb, I usually don't go for it, but I've been recently told it's quite a good skill if you put 1 point in it because it slows down every enemy in the vicinity. So 1 point in that is actually could be quite useful. And now we go for the bow. The bow brigand, just slight modifications, not much difference. See with the hunting here, I've hardly done. I only removed the takedown points from takedown, and I pretty much kept everything else. I just added loads of points into marksmanship. You see, pretty much maxed out. Marksmanship will be your main sort of key tree. Once again, with every archer, marksmanship is your main tree, and that will be your left mouse button skill. And because that was your left mouse button skill, you will not need the calculated strike in rogue. See, I removed that. Now I've also removed the lethal strike because I'm not entirely sure. I've never tried it myself. I'm not sure if lethal strike works with bows. Okay, I don't think it does, but it might. So that's the only thing you might have to check out because I'm not entirely sure myself. Everything else pretty much, as you can see, stays the same. So if you feel like for either bow or spear brigand you need traps or maybe monster lure, feel free to get those. If not, if you're doing fine without them, then fine, you don't need them. Now I'll just mention the attribute points. Since brigand is very highly piercing character, you might need quite a bit of points in dexterity to sort of increase the piercing even more. I would say a ratio maybe 1-to-1 between strength and dexterity would be good. Or if you're going for the spear brigand, maybe it's a good idea to go 2-to-1, 2 in strength and 1 in dexterity as a ratio. But with the bow, probably 1-to-1 is the best. So that's pretty much it. That's the brigand class. And next one, I think I'll probably do prophet class because I've been requested to do that. So yeah, that's it. Bye then.